Welcome to a new episode of Single Chain Stories, the podcast for musicians, artists, and creatives. My name is Miles Kundra, and as always, with me is the wonderful Mordio. Today,
Hello.
without a guest, just the two of us. Very nice. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm very organized in the moment. Like I'm organizing my business structure, learn a lot of things, automate some things that was a lot of work that you constantly have to do and you don't find time for a creative task. Like with
Like
our
what, for
jobs,
example?
all the admin things that you kind of have to track metrics and all that stuff. I kind of using AI right now to automate to have an overview where I am right now with the business.
Oh yeah, you showed me in Claude
Yeah,
what you're doing there.
I put a lot of APIs from Google metrics and all that stuff into my AI to kind of, just say, hey, how I'm standing in the business. And then I get all the numbers, real numbers, not like screenshots and like just gets the API, goes into my thing, check everything and tells me maybe next steps to do. It's kind of like
Nice.
I'm building myself a guidance for my business right now.
Okay,
And
that's good.
it feels great because it kind of automates some things that I needed to do for like an hour, sometimes a week, that I can just use now to, make creative things like actually finding good video ideas and not just making then a video after all of this, So
Yeah,
it's like,
I see.
it just, how it is. Like when you are like alone with the business, you kind of automate things. And I did like a big step with the APIs right now. So I'm very happy to, doing these things. And then also work-wise, it's just we're working more with Ableton now together, both. So it's cool stuff that I always dreamed of. Like I really want to be humble here. I always dreamt to work with Ableton together, and that they're reaching out to us now is just
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself in the moment, so I would say I'm very good.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, sometimes you just need to also appreciate where you are in your creative and business journey in that case, and just pat yourself on the back and say, you've done a really good job there. I mean, this is also like what you said, that kind of like companies like Ableton reaching out to us now is something that you've built. And I think sometimes we're not kind of like seeing what we have already achieved.
No,
I
we
feel
just
like,
go for the next.
Exactly. And that's something where I'm currently at, because I was in a not so good place the last couple of weeks. Was really a lot about anxiety, kind of like about the whole business situation, because I for the people who don't know, I actually didn't do Miles Kundra full time, and I'm transitioning in the next year to doing Miles Kundra full time because I lost my job. And it's something that just takes a lot of
Energy.
work and energy, and it's like
Totally
can be really draining. Oh my god, don't get me started here. No, it's like really you want to get everything right, but it's just a lot. And for me, then it comes in from my personality. I tend to be more on the perfectionist side, which is very dangerous in a field where creativity is a lot about spontaneity. You know what I mean?
Good. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Actually, I have no idea how to say that.
Spontaneity, something like that.
Spontaneity? Yes, I'm going to say.
Yeah. If you're a native speaker,
let us
know in the comments. No, but it's like really, it just took a lot of headspace. And then I had this really big gig coming up this Saturday. So we are recording this on Thursday, and the gig is happening in 2 days. So it's
we finally see each other in real life again, not in this box here.
Yeah. It's like nothing can replace that. It's awesome. I'm really looking forward. A lot of people coming, a lot of people from the industry also coming. So it's like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and that's really where I feel I'm starting to overthink again. It's like really I try so hard to make the perfect setup, and forget that the perfect setup most of the time exists in the moment. It's not something that you can a lot of plan in beforehand. I mean, it has to click in that moment. It need to be present to do it. You can't do all the planning before and then
it just has to happen. Set, right?
Exactly.
The live set,
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm trying to sometimes to force it too hard, just to want it too badly. But that's most of the times the place when you create out of fear and anxiety and this perfectionist state. And that's usually, I feel, when the art suffers. And yeah, that's kind of like something I tried to balance the last couple of weeks. And I did that quite well because I did a completely improvised ambient live set to kind of like bring myself down, like something completely different. I actually started this as just for myself, as something meditative to just get myself down and make some music. But then it just builds, and then I had these new ideas, and now I have this system where I can just turn it on, no pre-recorded clips, nothing, and it just create from scratch something that then exists in the moment. And I actually really like that and want to build on that idea. And yeah, that's
the best way to make ambient, improvised, like
absolutely
generative music. I really love that. I do the same with the S4 and the Cosmos here. Just having evening jams where I just like see. And
you just drift away, and it's like, I really like that because it's not something that you just trust yourself that something in that moment will happen. And that trust, I think, is something that for myself I need to find also for my other music, because a lot of times I tend to want to control it too much, to want to be too much kind of like, I need to control this, I need to control that, and then this needs to happen, then that needs to happen. And then you kind of like have a little bit of a plan for your set.
But too much plan gives you even more anxiety, right?
Exactly. I think you need to really find a good balance there between a good foundation, but then in the moment also enough freedom to just create and do stuff freely. And this is the balance I'm currently still trying to find.
In a time where I was playing a lot of live acts with the modular only, right? You don't have too much backup plan with Eurorack. The thing is, like, some of the modules have maybe computers inside, so you can have presets, you can have save points. But for example, my case was I try to have never a screen because I hate to have live screens and stuff. So my tools was mainly, even if they're digital, they didn't have presets or anything. They just have a digital processor to generate the sound maybe. But most of the time it was completely blank. And with this workflow, I realized also that having no like backup plan or something is also a blast somehow. That's why I learned from today that, like, if I play live, I actually want to always, like really always improvise, because that gives me actually less anxiety, because I can make nothing wrong. You know, there is no way to make something wrong when there is no plan. And
I love the
most
idea.
of the time, I feel like the anxiety that you have is actually how strong you want that it's good. And that energy you can translate in like, let's say we have no backup plan. You will have this anxiety still with you, but that makes you like, oh, this is too loud. Let me make this, you listen way more critical than someone else who's just literally dancing in that moment, or like, just hearing like the complete thing that you like in the moment play, and you just hear all these details. What is a good status to be in, like, if you play live? I feel like this critical voice that maybe before the gig destroys things is in the gig actually the thing why you are booked, why you're so good.
Yeah.
It's your, like, no, this have to sound like this have to be like this. And I feel like I learned that, for example, if you have a master chain or something, develop that properly nice in the background, and then that's the backup plan kind of, that your master sounds amazing. Or if you have some pre-recorded things, build them very nice so you have a backup plan in your machines to go if you feel lost. But I think it's very important in a live act that you have a spot where you know not what to do. So you kind of have to improvise things. And totally, when you have people in front of you, you do amazing moves. Trust yourself in this moment, really, man. Because like for everyone here that have this situation, I learned that just because I did it so many times. Like, I mean, my mainly live act time was in Corona, so there was a lot of live streams. It was not so much for a lot of people. It was more like knowing there's a lot of people watching, and then you have a film team in front of you. But it was still, that there is something, the pressure use in the front of you. if it's cameras, film teams, or like a full audience, it's a good thing in that moment. It's just important that you have not like losing it, like you're shaking, your hands are like, that is important to have like a backup plan. So for example, when I play live, I have this S4, right? And the Torso S4 have obviously samples inside. So if I feel like I'm losing right now, my delay pedal goes crazy, I have to put it down or something, I can put another element in and it will sound great because I designed it like this.
Yeah.
So you get what I mean, right?
Yeah, completely.
Have a backup plan, but give yourself a lot of freedom to improvise because these are the moments that are literally gold when you play live.
Yeah, 100%. That's super interesting that you say that, because I think also for me it comes a little bit from my past, from where I come from musically. So I played in a metal band for 10 years and we played a lot of gigs and proper alternative metal.
Nice.
That was an amazing time. That was really good. But obviously, a show that you play with a band is something, or with that band was something very different from what I do now, because we had kind of like our set list. We knew what to play. Obviously, everything was played in that moment, and we had some passages where we would just jam and be a little bit free, where I was the bass player, did some bass move, our guitar player played the solo, something like that.
Yeah.
But in general, it was very structured. So we had kind of like song 1, song 2, song 3. You know what to play,
You play in a group, so you kind of need that also.
Exactly.
Right?
You need structure, and
I think just really good jazz artists can do that, like completely free.
Oh yeah. And there's also like you see them move, and sometimes kind of like they fall back to patterns that they had already created. Because I was actually talking to a jazz guitarist, and he was like, he says he's jamming a lot, but he has these kind of like patterns. So when he knows a drummer or a bass guitarist does this, or a keyboarder or a saxophonist, doesn't really matter, and then he knows, okay, I can play along with that, and I know kind of like in what key they are right now. So I have these notes that I can kind of like fall back to and then jam along with that. That's the same with kind of like pentatonics, right? When you do improvisation and you have a key, you know each note that you play will just sound good. And it's like,
and then you can go with the randomness, like
100%.
I love that when I play guitar.
Yeah, same. But that's kind of like where I came from, and I just realized I did, when I started to play, I did the same thing, kind of like I structured my set kind of like from beginning to end completely through. It was like there was no real wiggle room for things that happen in that moment. And what I also planned my transitions very, very carefully between songs. And now what I like to do, I still like to play my songs, like so that people who come to the concert might recognize some songs because they listen to them. But I more remix them live, and between the songs I try to build in sections where I don't really know what will happen, because I will trigger a kind of like a random sequence, and then I bring in some drums and some elements, and then things between the songs are happening, and then I'm thinking, okay, from that scene, how can I now bridge the gap over to the next song in my setup? So it's kind of like gives me a little bit of the space.
That's perfect. That's totally what I say. So you have these moments where, like, if you find a nice pattern in that moment, you're like, wow, let's keep that, let's jam on that, woo, you know. And if it's like, I think that was not the best sequence that I could found,
you
then
just move on.
You instant have the backup plan to make your track, you know, again, that is produced and done. It's the same what I do with the torso. Like I go in the Cosmos and I make a lot of randomness, and I have the guitar and a jam on top. And then when I feel like, okay, now it's getting a bit repetitive, I just fade in slowly the next patch already, and then it just moves together. It
glues
sounds
together
like,
nicely.
Yeah. In the end, you just have to make the illusion that it should be like this, you know?
Yeah.
Everything has to sound like
totally
it was
intended.
planned.
Yeah. But that's kind of like the state where I am right now, and where I also want to grow from, because I feel I get more and more, as I do this ambient set, I get more and more excited by things that really only happen in the moment. I was always amazed by artists that entered, like you said with Modular, you enter the stage basically with a completely blank page, and then you just
I patched it on location.
That's crazy.
Without hearing it.
Yeah.
But that was the thing for me, that I know it will be random, so I can't control it. So I need to, like, before the set, I always went away from everyone for a moment and always like connected to my artist being, you know, and be like, okay, we got this, let's go. And then you go there and you connect to this like kind of force, and just do it.
Yeah.
If you have too much backup plans, I feel like you're not connecting to yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
You just play that set and you shake in the beginning and then you get used to it because you kind of move into it. But if you really like meditate for a second and just say, I have no backup plan, I need it from second one, that gives you anxiety, but that anxiety, like brings me into being Mordio, and just doing it.
Doing the stuff you love, yeah. Yeah, it's, I think, something I'm currently at that moment really learning. And I think what you say about you are more connected to yourself in that moment when you allow these moments to happen is just so true, because I felt it in my ambient set when I had on one track, I had Sting running. And basically what I did is I was a sequence playing and I felt, like you said, now it's getting repetitive. I need to bring in another element. So without hearing it, I generated a new sequence of Sting and then I just brought it in and I didn't know what it was playing, kind of like how it would sound like. And then I reacted with my playing to that sequence that was playing. And that, I think, was a big part of the magic in that moment.
Yes. I mean, you have tools for that, right? You're putting a random sequence based on random generative Turing machine vibes, right? But then you also have tools like, I know this is in D-moll, so maybe I try something also in moll, so it will sound okay. And these are little tools you can use. And then also like if you have like a 1-4 or like a 2 metric or something, maybe you try then like a 5 metric. So you have like something off and they kind of work together in an interesting way. And then when you fade out the full on the clock stuff, it kind of is a new track from the feeling, because it's so off then after.
Yeah,
so
totally.
You can play with this like elements, but you don't know what will be the element. You just know it will be in that direction.
Yeah, and when they are repeating. When I played with the setup, I found out for myself that the most fun I actually had. So in the beginning, I wanted to play it safe. So I played kind of like recorded in the patterns. And then I played them at 8 bars, 16 bars. But when I actually played it, I recorded patterns at 5 bars, 7 bars, 9 bars, 15 bars, whatever it was that just like felt right. So they were looping, but all in very different kind of like
numbers,
lengths, and that was just bringing also some more magic in. Then with the randomly generated sequences, there was already so much happening that kind of like I didn't need to do much, so I could already start to think, okay, what could I do next? What could be kind of like a new element that could be brought in? Which elements I can bring out? So then you can also think about the mixing element as well, which I really like. Yeah, it's just a completely different approach from what I did in the past, but yeah, for something there just really clicked with me.
Yeah, and I saw the video also, right? And the good thing is that you have an element where you can jam on. I think that's always important when you work with machines that are looping and stuff. There's always a moment where it's like kind of, there's a nice foundation of sound design elements happening, but they're kind of repetitive. And then you need a storytelling kind of on top, like someone who put lyrics on top almost. And from my example with the ambient stuff, what I'm doing right now is I have the guitar and I just play with the guitar. It's the simplest thing for me because it's really natural for me. It's not crazy a lot. It's just like to have something that is like out of everything you can program with the other machines. So it will be a contrast. And then I saw you like having like a new sequence coming in, but then playing with the push also like when you touch, it's like based on your hands. So it's human and it will like, by hearing what you have, interact in this way. So there is something human happening. Is always, I think, something that gives you this like DJ possibility, because you can have the A loopy sequence and then the B, the storytelling of your hands or like your guitar or piano or whatever you like can put on top. So you can always like solo and fade in and out this thing. So you can always go A, B, A, B, A, B like a DJ, and then you can play for hours. There is actually no limit.
Yeah.
Totally when it's randomized.
Yeah, 100%. But that's actually a very good point, because that's what I love so much about my techno setup right now, is that I have the sub 25. I mean, it's a pain to travel with because this thing is just so fucking heavy. It's insane. This is also why I'm thinking of kind of like redesigning my setup. I mean, one point obviously is the more improvised part, but one thing also is actually the carry
weight
part, because this thing alone weighs like 10 kilograms or something. It's insane.
why you're not trying a Minotaurus or something, you know? Like
Yeah, I've
just
thought
a
about it,
sublime.
but I don't know. The Sub 25, there's just something about it that I really love. The sound of it, the ability to have actually a keyboard to play it. That's the same thing that you said with the guitar, because what I like to do, and you will hear it on Saturday, when I started with this setup, I let the Moog all the time just be sequenced, just sequences. And now what I like to do is either to play stuff completely by myself on the Moog and then have some nice reverbs and stuff and bring some other elements then in on the push. Or what I just found out recently, and that is really nice, you have actually a sequence playing, but then you play notes on top of the sequence. So kind of like you interact with the sequence that gets fed into the Moog. Sounds a little weird, but it's like
No, it's absolutely
long
my favorite thing
notes.
to do.
Yeah, long sustained notes, and then you just play notes on top, and then the notes just latch back to the sustained notes, and then you create these weird arpeggios that just happen in that moment.
Yeah.
There's actually one track I'll be playing on Saturday that is out of a jam session, and there was not so much in that track, so I thought, what if I just feed random MIDI messages into the Moog and then I play on top of it? And that's what I will do on Saturday. It's just basically the whole Moog line is completely improvised, and that's something I just really, really like to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear you finally live.
Yeah, me too.
My God, I hear in your voice the anxiety.
No. It's like, talking about it, to be honest, is like puts things in perspective, it's when you speak about it. And the thing is, when you're here alone in your chamber, alone with your head and with your thoughts, that's always the point where you just start to freak out. But I have the feeling when talking to you or to other people, it's like you get a better perspective on things. And then it's like, then also for me, I realize it's completely okay to make mistakes, because these mistakes are in the end also something that can make something awesome. Like, I've had that so many times in my live sets.
Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah, where I have this looper. I built this looper device where I can just live loop the stuff that is currently playing, and I forgot to turn it off, and suddenly I had this weird phasing effect on my hi-hat, because there was a hi-hat constantly loop in the background, but it actually sounded really nice. So I just kept it. And I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to turn down the looper, but hey, maybe we can do something more crazy. So I changed kind of like the loop division, and
perfect example.
From there things happened. Yeah.
Because look, there's this moment where you say, okay, that was a mistake. You turned it not off.
Yeah.
Mistake number one. Shit, already won in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and everyone in the audience will not even know that was a mistake, because they don't know your master plan, right?
Yeah, true.
They just think, oh, he put a phaser on. Okay, interesting.
Nice.
Wow, you have so many devices going on. So like, I start to think about the things so much that it blocked me for a long time. Like I was intensely with this. That I actually said to some bookings no, just because of anxiety. I was like, no, I don't want to play. I don't play live anymore. Bye.
When was that?
22, something like that.
Okay, yeah. So basically
23.
You got in the overthinking mode, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I know what you're talking about. But then I realized also after like saying every time I finish the gig and I come to the people and they're like, amazing, bro, so nice. And I'm like, I fucked it. I did it. This typical moment where you are hating it and everyone else is loving it. And when you put that in perspective, and you sit down and think a little bit about it or meditate about it properly, and you really sit there and you're like, why everyone says it's so good when I think it's so bad? Maybe it's my problem then. Then like you have to think yourself, what I want to improve. So do that, make it to your master plan, but like try to control that in an uncontrolled way, because live, you never have so much control like in the studio, because live, you are fucking nervous. So you need to improvise things, because with nervous, I cannot handle a plan. I can just improvise really good. I learned that by overthinking about these things. And also when people constantly saying it, maybe start believing it. And the first thing that I couldn't accept was maybe like, yeah, I'm amazing. I can't accept that, but I can accept that, yeah, they have no clue what is my plan. So maybe I just say it was not a mistake, I say just nothing to it, I just do my thing, and then I can, for myself, say, next time I have to do this better, but not like hating yourself for it, like just keep it a bit more flatlined, with your expectations, and don't hate yourself so much for making like 5 of the mistakes that was not like the plan. There was just moments where you improvised something or forgot something that is randomness. And randomness is like your partner in your life act that is just doing things. Like imagine you play with me now and we improvise and then I put a phaser in and you're like, I don't like this phaser. Would you go to me like, hey, stop this instantly? No, you would be like, oh, interesting, a phaser, you know? But when you do it because you forget it, you're like, where's this phaser? Shit, I hate myself for this. So, you know, it's like really a perspective game here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. Especially, as you said, with life. I mean, it's the same as with life. There are things happening that you just can't control. So I think the worst thing you can do is stress yourself about the things that you just can't control. And a life situation is always something that you can plan it perfectly to the minute, but then I agree with you, it loses its magic. Plus, you don't allow for these happy accidents to enter your playing, and that's really where the magic happening. I feel like I'm really, what you described is perfectly, because I feel I'm on the transition right now that you already kind of like gone through. I mean, the more I play, the more I trust myself, and probably I'm also way overthinking it because the feedback after my gigs always is really good. But
you see,
it's
trust
just
the metrics.
Yeah, trust it.
Trust the metrics of the people, you know.
Yeah, you
like
have to.
I always put this like literally as a tattoo on my forehead. Your 20% is 100 for others, you know, or whatever number you want to put there, you know. Like if you feel like that was not 100%, for most of the people it was 150, you know.
Yeah,
and then very critical people. We have this in so many episodes already. I said that, you know, but this is like really the thing. I always put like a mantra. Because there's this moment, look, there's this perfect example. If you record a jam for a radio show or something, and you start recording, and then you make one of these phaser mistakes in your head, mistakes. You stop the recording, and you have to start again.
Yeah.
Or you just keep on and have an amazing show, and then you listen it back, like, I don't know, some days later when you're a bit disconnected to it in a good moment, and you're like, fuck, I'm so good. This moments happen, you know, but it cannot happen if you not just jam it full on and like commit to this jam now, you know. And I think this is where I realized that I'm a little bit over this now. Where you are right now, I think I'm a bit over this. And my metric for knowing that is I don't record things like 5 times anymore, maybe 2 times.
Me neither.
That's it.
Yeah, that's already something I also learned, where I also recorded for radio shows, and then I thought, I just give this one shot now, and this one shot will be the take no matter what happens. I mean, obviously, when everything crashes, then you record again. But it's like really, when mistakes happen, I try to play along with them. It's like, I think it was, do you know Victor Wooten? He's a very famous jazz bass player. I read a book about music from him. I forgot how it was called, but it was actually really good. And there he talks about mistakes in music, because people always say, how can you kind of like jam freely to music without having the fear to making mistakes? And he literally basically says there's no mistakes, because notes are always in relationship to one another. So if I play a note that is out of a key, I can make it a pattern so that it sounds like it is intentional. So you press the wrong note, you're like, oh shit, I'm in C minor and I played a note out of, I don't know, G minor, whatever it is. And then you feel like, okay, this note is completely wrong and it sounds wrong in context, but then you start to play a note that is in key, and then you play that wrong note again. You play another note in key and you play that wrong note again.
That's the
thing. Then people start to think, okay, he played that note intentionally because it started to create tension. And that's, I think, the beautiful thing.
I love the fact also that you, in this moment, have to commit it somehow to make it not to sounding to a mistake. And then you realize, wait, this pattern is fucking insane. Actually, I love it. And this is the moment where you make music and you're realizing, I love to play right now.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where you will have fun in a live act, you know?
100%. Yeah.
That's why I say it's so important to have these free moments, to get this feeling, you know? And I love this, like the wrong note happened. That's the moment when you are really connected to yourself. You are very aware about this moment. But then you have to control about the future notes.
Exactly.
And that's why you can still control it. So there is no control lost when there's a wrong note.
Exactly.
There's
And that's basically
possibilities that happening with your partner, the randomness. You know?
100%. And that's what you can train actually to embrace. And the more I played live, the more I trusted in myself that if I played wrong notes, I will just continue to do it because it just enhances the performance. And I don't know where it will take it, but it takes it somewhere. And that's kind of like where you trust your gut feeling and make an awesome live show.
Yes. Yeah, for example, you play a melody, do, 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 and then there's this wrong note.
Yeah.
And then you play a doom. And then you go make it to a sequence. Doom, 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 doom. And then you start making something more monotonic, more like sequenced from a beautiful melody line. And then it's almost like, there's the next track. So people are already committed to it. Doom, 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 you know?
And then you bring in some kick, some percussion elements. And then
sometimes you just
I was already vibing when you were singing that. I had the kick drum in my ear.
Yeah, techno is simple.
It is.
Yeah. So overthinking is absolutely natural. And I think important is also to get like a line of live acts that you did or moments where you're nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Just force yourself doing it still. Because after 5-6 times, it gets better.
Get more chilled. Yeah, 100%.
And at some point, if you do a lot, you really trust in yourself. Even if people say it was not good, you can be like, thanks for the info.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You know, thank you. I know myself that there is never the perfect. There is never. There's always something I didn't like, but that is just material for the next one, you know?
Yeah.
That I want to improve.
Perfect.
That's just my little side notes that I do. No one have to talk about this with me. If someone mention it and dude, I read that actually in the live act on my Vata, really good ears, you know, then you have a conversation on the bar, you know, but in the end, it's just you having a process in growing as an artist. Parallel, people getting like a story of where you are right now, plus it gets away with more, like I always say, I have randomness as a back-to-back partner.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that gives me less anxiety because I'm not alone anymore.
Yeah.
I always say, I play,
nice
and then they have my artist being, you know, Mordio is also on the side, helps me, you know, making decisions. It's just like, now the filter, why? Not asking, just do it.
Yeah, just go for it.
I want the resonance up. Okay.
Okay, then we do it.
Yeah, you're just a medium in that moment, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, and with this, I really went away from the anxiety attacks before shows. Obviously, I'm shaking when I start to put the first fader up. Mm-hmm. Always, like you see it on cameras and my recordings.
I think it's normal. Yeah.
But then
after a couple of minutes, you get into the zone.
Yeah. And it's also important to be in the zone. That's why on my tech rider, I just say, give me water. Give me an ashtray, you know, and let me alone. Don't come all 5 minutes. You want another drink? And I'm always like, please, just when I play live, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something you have to know and communicate, and then just do it again and again and again and again. At home, in shows, on friends' places. If you are, for example, an artist right now, for the audience also a bit, no, not just like your therapy session here right now.
It's therapy. It's public therapy for everyone here.
I mean, this time I feel like I can say something because I'm really over it.
Yeah,
but I'm not nervous
therapist
so much
Mordio.
anymore.
I really like the therapist Mordio. I might book another session.
Ooh, that gets expensive, my friend. Fuck, no, I forgot the point. I wanted to say...
You want to say something to the audience?
Yeah. I mean, when you like having this anxiety moments, for example, it's very important to make yourself also like situations that are not so heavy. So example, you have to play shows, but you don't have shows yet. Yeah? There is ways to have a show. You just have to do it yourself. Yeah, but I don't get a club, la 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 la. For example, I right now want to play more often this live ambient stuff. And literally, I have friends that have a big living room and they want to make an event. So you can kind of create small events, like just for a lot of friends of friends and friends. So it's not a real concert, but in the end, because so many friends come, it's kind of a concert, you know?
It is, yeah.
And
sure.
You can build yourself some kind of events in a way. And just to literally say, I want to put myself out there to also put myself in the stressful situation of playing live, you know? Because if you just do it in the studio, it's never the same.
Yeah.
So it really, you need a little bit this like anxiety force that there's someone listening. Like sometimes it's enough that someone sits in the studio and listen to what you're doing right now, you know? That can be already like a training scenario.
Yeah, 100%. I remember I played one of my first gigs in a very small private club here in Cologne, and it was actually more kind of like a synth enthusiast get together, and everyone kind of like had like 20-25 minutes, and you could either just say, okay, this is my setup, we can talk about it, or you could play a little set. And I decided to play a little set. And that was the first time I played with my Electron boxes live, and I was like, oh my God, I was really, really scared. But it turned out really nicely. And like after always. That, it was like only a couple, as you said, only a couple of people. I know a lot of them from the community here in Cologne as well before. So it was not too much pressure, but it was like a really nice environment to try out the stuff, as you said. And just wanted to add what also helped me when you say, okay, even that stage is too crazy, film yourself. Just say, okay, this is my setup, and really I'll just film myself making music now. The camera alone will create, is an audience. It will create some pressure, but you're still there, and you know in the back of your head, if I completely mess it up, if I have a mental breakdown, whatever it will be, you can just erase it and record it again. But it creates a little bit of a stage atmosphere that you're not like, okay, I'm just here and I play this pattern now. You really hit record, play one set from the beginning to the end, no matter how many mistakes you make. And then in the end, you can also, it's great because you can learn from it. You can rewatch it and then see, okay, there in that moment, I fucked up because of that. Maybe if I would have done that, it would have been better. So you actually learn from it.
You get material to analyze, you get material for your artist portfolio. A lot of people underestimate making videos of you performing is so important for your tech writer. Yeah. Like agencies and all of this, they want content about you. They want to see what you're doing when you say, I can play live. Yeah, do you have a link? And then you send them this video that you have private on YouTube or something. 10 times better than like writing why you love music. Like your bio, no one wants to read.
100%. People want to see, want to hear it.
And they want to hear it, perfect. But even better, they have video on top, you know? So like filming yourself just with your phone, what is okay and amazing quality, so you don't have to think about the quality, is so important to do that. And it's very, very good. You are absolutely right. It was a really good point. Because the cameras, we know that the best way, right? The cameras making you fucking nervous. And that's the effect you want. You want to be a little bit nervous. So you're not just like, whatever feeling, you know? Maybe I stop here now. I don't like it anymore. Like you do 1 hour. Put yourself a clock. Do 1 hour. Because if you have 5 recordings where you literally played live for 1 hour and someone asks you, can you play live for 1 hour? You can say yes.
Yeah, and I've done it before, multiple times.
Maybe, and then you don't get the gig because you were stuttering too much. You have moments, I got a lot of times here in Berlin, connections where people ask me, can you do that? And I was stuttering, and with this, the chance was gone, you know? So you have to be really like convinced by yourself first to get the gigs, you know? Like sometimes it's really just connections, but these connections are not like, they don't write you a mail. This is like you meet someone who have a show, a radio show or something, and they ask you, you have to answer, yes, I can. And if they say, hey, do you have a proof? You know, you can send them these fucking files. And that's very important, I think. A lot of people don't have that in mind. I learned that also after, because thanks to the YouTube channel, I got a lot of portfolio and I didn't know it even like this. For me, it was the channel to help people to produce. But then I realized I started the channel with a lot of jams about life, you know, me and my modeler just jamming, because I was scared from the camera to talk, right? Totally with my English in this time was completely blank. Like, hello, my name is Florian, that's it, you know?
That's more than enough for YouTube video. I
still know I have the weirdest German accent, but yeah, like before you talk, I just put like jams on video form. And now in these days, when someone asks me, hey, do you have a proof? I can just give them so much material how I play live.
Same.
Years ago and today also. So yeah, it's constantly a thing that I'm doing. Sometimes I just record a jam just for myself to have it as a file.
Yeah, 100%. I can just actually back that up. actually also got gig requests based on people who saw my YouTube live sets, basically, that I played for YouTube. It's just
all
like
my gigs are like this now.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important to have the portfolio out there and to show actually what you can do. It doesn't have to be perfect, as we said.
And doesn't have to be YouTube also.
is killing it. It doesn't have to be YouTube. It can be literally anywhere. But it's just having the confidence to say, yes, I can do that, and here is what I can do. Showing that to people makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and this confidence you just get when you know you did it before, because you have the proof for yourself also. I think sometimes people forget how important it is for yourself to know that. Because you do something and you're like, maybe I can do it, I don't know. But when you did it 5 times, you know you can do it. You know, it's just a fact. Like, did you recorded ever a track in Ableton before? Yes, you did many times. You know, and
True.
that's a thing that it's a bit underestimated, I think, that sometimes you just have to do the things for you. You don't need a radio show that asks you for something to make a recording for a radio show. Do fucking recordings for yourself first. And then when they ask you, you can send that.
Exactly. From that, the things will coming. I think then we're back at the point, kind of like you just need to start. It doesn't have to be big. It can be your friend's living room. It can be, actually, when I played in my metal band, the first gig we had was actually in the living room of some friends' parents, because they were huge metal fans. They were, as a family, every year going to the Wacken festival, which I absolutely loved. The whole family was traveling there, and they just made a barbecue, and we were like, can we play there? It's just like a barbecue party, and we play metal there. And it was actually so fun. It was such a cool concert, because we played just in the living room. Everyone was there. And after us, there was a black metal band. And they said, well, as the instruments are here, could we play as well? We were like, yeah, sure, why not? And then they just played some black metal, and everyone loved it. It was the craziest barbecue I was at, but it was so good. It was our first gig. And that's how stuff happens. And it was just, we learned. Probably we were not the best, but we learned so much from it just by trying it out, and then we kind of like grew from there.
I feel like every time you do something in front of people, it's X 10 times, you know, the learning curve, the learning for yourself, the improvement of your self-doubt, everything times X, whatever number, you know. It's just like, it always doubles. When you do it alone, 5 times a recording here, you maybe get slowly confident that you can actually do finished tracks or finish podcast recordings or something. But if I push record right now here, forget the record, but have like 5 people sitting here on my carpet, listening to me jamming and like slowly talking a little bit, I'm nervous. So it's till today, you know, like if my girlfriend sits here with some friends and I just jam and they come in and I don't know, smoke one, you know, I'm like, here, okay, you're here now, okay. I'm starting to be much better.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. And you learn that later, you know, that is actually a good thing. Now, when I want to record for a radio show or something, literally ask sometimes Pascal if she want to chill here a bit. Just to have that audience.
To have the audience. Yeah. I do that with Tata too. Sometimes I have to ask her, hey, listen to my set. Also kind of like hear someone else say, well, it's actually not too crappy what you're doing there. It's also kind of like good.
It's a good thing.
Reassurance. Yeah, definitely.
It's not too crappy what you're doing there. Is she talking like this to you?
No. She's actually extremely supportive.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So should we summarize this a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
I mean, anxiety off, just do it on yourself, alone.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably, to add to that, just saying anxiety off is probably much harder to actually do it. But what I can tell you from my own perspective, coming from anxious places and working out of there, really doing it and committing to it is really what helps. Kind of like just you overthinking, sitting there, just constantly thinking about it. Forget the thinking part. Just do it. And then it goes away.
Make the thinking of, if you get a call, hey, do you want to play on this show? Blah, blah, blah. You just say yes.
Yeah. And then you can start to worry.
And then you make the phone off and you sit there and you're like,
yeah.
But I always do that. I just say yes.
Yeah, same.
Because in the end, you never know which kind of gig it is. And you maybe it's not such a cool gig. I don't know. And then you go there and it's an amazing atmosphere. And you're like, wow, good. I said yes to this.
Yeah.
Every time, literally every time I'm surprised. You know, so, and you meet people, like maybe this gig was not for the performance itself. And there was maybe not too much people. They didn't make too much advertisement. It's not even on on you sometimes, right? It's also on the event. But then you meet someone that plays after you, and now you're making an EP together or something. Like there's so many things. It's really important to just get out there, because that brings you also connections and all of this. So like just say yes to every possibility to play. Start in small bars. Start with friends' houses. Organize them yourself with some friends in the end, you know? We all have speakers at home, an interface and machines. So you have everything to make a show, you know?
Go from there. Yeah.
And I think that is the main thing you can do to get the anxiety away from you. Just do it. It sounds so simple and stupid, but I think we got like good examples how the think was in the end, like how you think about the things.
And then how your perspective changes, kind of like when you start to do it, how you actually, get away from that place of fear. And that's also when the ideas start to happen. And you can really see then, because anxiety is just not a good place to create or to be creative, because it kind of like kills your flow. And I have the feeling the whole inspiration and creativity, it just needs to flow freely, and anxiety is like a roadblock there. And once you overcome that, you will see when you start to do it how actually new impulses are coming in, and how new ideas start to emerge, and how you learn new stuff and bring all that stuff into your set again. And that's amazing.
I'm not 100% agree with that. I feel like when you say the anxiety is the block, but I have anxiety right now, so I'm not even possible to do that.
Okay,
you know?
Yeah.
I would say what I really learned was like the anxiety needs to be transformed in your superpower. The anxiety makes you like make good decisions in that moment because you really want to be perfect. You have to soften it, yes. But you don't want to destroy the anxiety.
No.
You really want to use it, kind of, I feel. That's the only thing I was disagree. The rest was perfect.
No, but I think you're right. I think kind of like block is probably the wrong word, because block would also mean you can't really kind of like start and overcome it. But that's not really what I meant. I feel like more anxiety can, let's put it like that, anxiety can slow you down. But then you have to embrace that feeling to kind of like get yourself back up there. I think that's probably more what I meant.
I mean, anxiety is one word, right? And it's a word for like when it's too much. But in the end, it's the perfectionism. What's the English word?
Perfectionism, I think.
Thank you. That is the superpower, because that make your decisions, where other people leave this like loop for like a half hour and you hate the life act already. You don't do that, and that's why you're better, for example, you know. And
true,
that's your superpower, but that's something you don't want to make off, you know.
I would say there, honestly, perfectionism can kill your creativity. If you're too perfectionist about something, it just like can be too much. Like we've all been there, the classy of EQing your snare kind of like till 3 a.m. and you're trying to be perfectionist about it. I think that matter of perfectionism is probably too much, but I agree with you when it comes to the perfectionism, when it comes to your artistic vision. So you say, I have this in mind and I want to bring my live set there, and I will do countless rehearsals. I will work on it continuously until I have that vision that I have in my head kind of like created, or at least land somewhere where I think, okay, that's equally nice. I think that is like
we're really getting somewhere here. Yeah. I see that. I would say like it's your taste, you know, in the end that makes you the perfectionism. So it gives you this like, no, this have to be different. What is a good thing? I think that makes it to you. But then you have to kind of shift where, because the creative energy is on a timeline. You don't have unlimited resources of that. So for example, if I make a snare for 3 hours, that's just stupid, because you have 3 hours maybe in total to have a good idea. So when I feel like I'm hanging here right now, I'm chilling on the snare too long, I leave the snare like it is. Perfect. And I go to the next element. That's a conscious decision of efficiency, because you have to balance the creative part with the efficiency part, because the creative perfectionism, creative decision, but also, when it's too much, it just makes your efficiency completely fucked, because you just sitting there making a kick for the full night And then you feel like, well, I didn't finish a track, I'm nobody. But in the end, yeah, because you sit 3 hours on the kick. But if you just make the kick and then you do all the other things and then you go back to the kick and now you have a context of the full mix and you realize, I actually need a click because it's completely out of the mix. Now I cannot hear my kick anymore. This decision you would never do in the beginning. So it's even better to do that, you know?
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think now we form it in like
we have a
frame. Yeah.
Full circle moment.
Close the circle, my friend. End of the year, closing circles.
Yeah. Oh, not yet. We have still, I think, a couple of episodes to come. And we have a workshop. So if you want to learn from us, come there. The plug.
Yeah, let's do some marketing.
Yeah, we are perfect marketing experts, as you can see, because we always do the marketing in the end of the episodes, which is not where you want to place it. But anyway, the 13th and the 14th of December, we're doing a workshop at the Ableton HQ in Berlin.
Yeah.
We're teaching everything Ableton related. We will have hopefully as much fun, I think we'll do, as we have in these episodes. We will take it easy, fun. It will be creative. It will be fueled with creative energy. So, yeah.
Yes, and just 15 people. So we can really talk to everyone and go on each needs. So if you do like drum and bass and you do techno, I really can shift and go for the tricks that you need and you need. And you go full on the hardware. Like we will have push and move for everyone there, so you don't have to bring that. The only thing, if you want to, all the infos are in the links. We will add that somewhere, right? I will not go too deep on that now. But yeah, it's an amazing chance to also meet the people from Ableton because it's in their house. They give you the hardware, and then we both give you 2 days of insights. And after we are all connected, friends, and having a good time in Berlin.
Yeah, looking forward. That will be amazing. So, links in the video description, comments, wherever. And
put them everywhere, even here, everywhere. And there.
Put them everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we wrap
it up? Sounds like a plan.
My friend, for you also, don't anxiety. I see you on Saturday. You will rock it. You will make
I already
the show.
feel the therapy session was great. I already feel much better now. Yeah, it's like I'll now do, you can see it maybe in the background, I have the stuff built up here. I now do my final rehearsal. With the set, I will kind of like have everything disconnected from the computer and stuff. So only the cables that I will actually bring to Berlin are now here on the table. So I'll do the final round and then pack everything up. And then tomorrow goes the train off to Berlin. That will be amazing. Yeah, woo!
Nice. Okay, so then, for everyone still here, thank you for listening so long. That is that means you have a good attention span and you are a very healthy person in these days. And I would say like and subscribe helps us a lot. And the comments help the algorithm, but also helps us to know who you are, what you want to see, and all that beautiful things. And we see us then in 2 weeks, right?
In 2 weeks. That sounds perfect.
Okay, then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.